Jay Hill has been unabashed in saying that guys have gained 30 pounds, 35 pounds, 40 pounds, particularly when it comes to the bench press. And he has pointed directly to Ryan Phillis as BYU strength and conditioning coach and his cavalcade of coaches alongside him, along with BYU sports science team, and being the reason why BYU has seen these strength gains. I'm going to be very blunt. I am astounded by some of the numbers I am hearing about BYU's gains in the weight room this past offseason. I have it on very good authority from a certain lineman, I will not name him, I'll keep it anonymous, who has said that he has gained more than 70 pounds in the squat. This young man, so far as I'm aware, squatted 600 pounds, 600, multiple times in the weight room earlier on when they were doing strength testing with Ryan Phillis. Incredible gains being made in the BYU football program. Well, what has led to all of it? Well, I'm going to ask the man himself, and I had the conversation with him at Photo Day with Ryan Phillis, BYU head strength and conditioning coach, about what he is doing to see these, and we use the term gains, but they're absolute gains that the BYU football program has picked up this offseason. What went into all of it, and how is he going about it? Let's let the man answer himself. So here you go, my conversation with Ryan Phillis, BYU strength and conditioning. Ryan, we were talking with Jay Hill, and he referenced multiple guys who had gained 30 pounds and 35 pounds in various lists. I think mainly bench is what he was referring to, and he credited you and your strength and conditioning staff with helping get that. How did you go about that this offseason?
Yeah, so first thing, my staff's awesome. Mm-hmm. You know, I have a whole new staff. They're bought into what Coach Kalani wants, and we had to get guys bigger, faster, stronger this year, and it's a testament to not only my staff, but mostly the players. The players bought in, and that's the biggest thing, is when the players buy into the nutrition, the strength staff, and what we're trying to do, you know, they start seeing those improvements, and that's what we're trying to do on long run. So
how big has it been to have like a full-time nutritionist, and you have guys making food for these guys in the facility to I guess actually fuel them the right way?
It's awesome. It's everything we've needed in here in BYU. Dan Wilcox does an awesome job. He's got 17 Traegers outside. He smokes 200 and
I've seen him do this, yes, by the way.
200 and I think 56 pounds of meat every single day for the guys. So there's rice, there's veggies, there's actual meals. He has New York strips, ribeyes, salmon, chicken, whatever you want for the guys. So it's awesome. It's been everything that we needed here. So.
As a guy who owns a Traeger, I can only imagine how many pellets he goes through on a weekly basis.
A ton. I'm sure he has a discount. So
he's got it. He's got a frequent buyer club, I guess, at this point. So. Your role obviously is very important because you get to have more contact with the players during the offseason than most of the position coaches. What is your philosophy just in terms of you're trying to set like a mentality, a culture for the program overall?
Yeah. First and foremost, the culture is set by Coach Kalani and what he wants, and it's echoed down to me. And so my first priority is to echo it to those players as much as I possibly can. Mm-hmm. So doing so, we split the guys up into squadrons. They have team leaders, and it's a daily accountability system to whether it's waking up on time, not being late, community service, adding points for your team or subtracting points for your team. Even through competition stuff we do on the field, there's points added and subtracted to that team, and ultimately there's going to be an end winner. So that's how we kind of hold guys accountable throughout the whole offseason. Mm-hmm. But ultimately that culture and that standard is set by Coach Kalani, and I echo that, and I kind of implement things to let that thrive. So,
talking with the players both during spring and also just over the summer, they talked about the workouts you had, and you had teams essentially that they put together. Was that something that you talk about, like in the end, did you actually announce a winner, like which team won that, or was that just something you guys kept together throughout the months?
Yeah, so we kept that together. Actually, there's a winner, there's a winter winner.
Got it, okay.
And then there's a winter loser, and then there was a summer winner, summer loser. At the end of the winter, they actually drafted new teams.
Okay.
Because, transfer portal, guys coming in, and they draft teams based on, how many infractions the other teammates had throughout the offseason. But that gives our leaders a chance to mentor to the younger guys and mentor to guys who don't have it quite yet. We're not going to have it all the time, but that gives those leaders a chance to mentor to those guys and to get them on the right track before we hit season. And so that's why we group up in the squadrons and we do that. So
Now, the social media team put out a video of you guys running through workouts over the stadium, and there was a comment in there, hey, keep doing what you're doing, we'll go 5-7 again. I think I'm misquoting it directly, but has that kind of been the message all off season long?
One of our messages was keep a chip on the shoulder.
Okay.
And we're flying under the radar, and that's okay.
Yeah.
We don't want it any other way. So, that's the motto, was keep the chip on the shoulder. Let's pay attention to us and what we do best as a program, and let all the outside and the naysayers say what they want to say, and that's all right. Because we have each other, and that's what Coach Kalani wants, and that's what we thrive off of. So,
last thing for you is, obviously strength and conditioning is always changing philosophically. How much studying do you have to do to keep up with the quote-unquote times?
A ton.
Okay.
A ton. There's new studies, there's new research out every single day. And so my job as a strength and conditioning professional is to research that, to study that, and to implement that. If I don't apply that, what is researched and what's studied, then I'm not doing my job, and I'm not putting these guys in the best position that I can be putting them in. So it's a daily process, and also I lean on my staff a lot. I have a very experienced staff.
Yeah.
I have a really good staff, and I lean on them for their advice, because they've been to multiple places, and I only got one set of eyes, so I need everybody that I can count on. So,
one small follow-up alongside that, how important is it to have a full complement of strength and conditioning coaches alongside you?
With the team this size and what we're trying to do, and how many things we got going on, whether it's the point system, whether it's weighing guys in, weighing guys out. I have a strength coach for line. I have a strength coach for combo, for skill, and I run different groups. I run a volume group, a strength group, a velocity group, and then there's a ton of things that go into this. So it's awesome. That's what we need, is a full staff, and these guys work their butts off to do so.
There you have it, BYU strength and conditioning coach Ryan Phillis, and you heard him break it down. He said that, hey, we've put a lot of work in. He talked about the Traegers that they are cooking up, ribeyes, tri-tip. They got everything. I can tell you, I have seen the spread. The training table, is we like to call it in college athletics, for BYU football players. It is truly impressive. And tip of the cap to BYU administration for investing in this, bringing in nutritionists, an entire staff. We've got the full complement of 5 strength and conditioning coaches. You've got Dr. Skylar Main, as well as Colby Clausen, working on the sports science side of things, right alongside Ryan Phillis in terms of gauging the workload for each one of these guys. The other thing about this, and Ryan may have referred to it, he talked about weighing in, weighing out. Connor Pay also talked about it earlier on this week when he was on with us, actually yesterday on the podcast. BYU players have to weigh themselves in every morning and weigh themselves out every night when they leave the facility. It is incredible what they're doing to help these young men transform their bodies. And I say transform because I talked about David Latu earlier on today's podcast. He looks noticeably trimmer than he was a year ago, but I can tell you, he is a far better defensive tackle today than he was. Maybe I wouldn't even know how many pounds he lost, but he looks noticeably slimmer. He's not the only guy like that. I can tell you, LJ Martin, when LJ Martin walked out to spring camp earlier this year, the roster told us he was up from 205 pounds to 225. And I was like, okay, is this BYU inflating the numbers? And then out trots number 27 himself. I'm like, nope, that's a legit number, another 20 pounds added onto that young man's frame. Ryan Phillis and his staff have worked just a literal miracle, it feels like, with this roster. Will it benefit BYU? Will they be able to hold up better when it comes to in-game competition? That remains to be seen, but strength numbers absolutely do not lie. When you're stronger, you're going to be able to hold up better. You're going to be better able to handle the rigors and the just overall nature of a Power 4 schedule in the Big 12. So, Ryan Phillis, tip of the cap to you, because it feels like across the board, like I said, that's just one line I told you about with that 70-pound gain in the squats. Right, it's just been incredible to consider, because Jay Hill has talked about guys every time he talks to the media about one guy gaining 30 pounds on the bench, or this guy over here getting a major boost in his squat numbers. Ryan Phillis is the man, the myth, the legend, and props to him for transforming BYU football quite literally from the inside out.